Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. Today, we are diving all into Scorpio season because the sun has officially moved into the sign of Scorpio. And with that comes a change of energy, right? As the planets shift, so does the energy. And I've come to break that all down for you, what you can expect this Scorpio season, okay? Now, the sun is officially in Scorpio from October 23rd until November 22nd, okay? And the model behind this season, Scorpio season, I would say the motto is be the eagle, not the scorpion. And we're going to get into what that means here in a second. But when the sun moves out of the side of Libra into Scorpio, it is definitely a complete switch of energy. Libra is more harmonious, peaceful, balancing. It kind of just skims the surface. I know some people could take that in a negative way, but Libra energy tends to stay more on the surface of the matter, and it's more so trying to bring balance, but it doesn't really go deep. Now, when the sun moves into Scorpio, the energy just gets really, really intense. It gets deep. You feel it. You feel the switch. It is one of the, I would say, one of the most startling switches in terms of energy in the entire zodiac, moving from that, that Libra energy into that Scorpio energy, okay? When the sun is in Scorpio, it's going to help us go deep, very deep in our emotions, in our thoughts, going beneath the surface, which is necessary, especially if we've been on the surface during Libra season and focusing more on the aesthetic things, more on things that are presented versus the root of things. And that's what Scorpio energy is really designed to help us do. Get to the root of the matter, to really address the things within ourselves and others that lead to profound change and transformation. This is all about transformative energy, okay? So this is about going to the depths of ourselves, going to the depths of the matters. It's emotional intelligence at its highest, okay? Now, Scorpio is very intense, and you're going to continue to hear the words intense energy, intensity, passionate energy. Why? Because Scorpio is ruled by the planet Pluto and traditionally by the planet Mars. So you have these two energies which are heavy hitters, right? Mars is our drive, our initiation, our action is very passionate, is very fiery, it's very go get 'em. And Scorpio is very like hard in terms of this is power, this is control, this is, transformation. So when you combine these energies and you're, putting it over a sign like Scorpio, you can't expect anything light to come of this season or this energy, especially as some of the transits that we're about to break down. As we talk about it, you're going to see that these are the themes that are going to be really blown up and expanded, but it is to help you transform or help society transform in some type of way, shape, or form, okay? So I'm not saying it's always easy, but it is necessary, okay? Now, Scorpio is an energy that is very powerful, very driven, okay? That's one of the best, things to pull out of this energy. I love the drive that you get behind Scorpio's energy. Very, very goal-oriented in terms of sees a goal, wants to get it done. And I say that Scorpio and Capricorn work very, very well together just because those energies are very complementary, and they know what needs to be done, and they're out to make sure that it happens. So the power and the drive behind the fixed nature of Scorpio's energy of getting things complete is beautiful. Plus that emotional intelligence that helps us really get to the root of things is great. But on the flip side of Scorpio's energy, you have some of those really, really harsh characteristics or qualities that can be very damaging, okay? Vindictive, controlling, obsessive, because again, you got that fire, and then you've got the harshness of Pluto. So it can be a lot, okay? So it's like, you ever hear the saying, you don't want to cross a Scorpio? that is very true, because it is something that you probably will not be happy with the results of what comes out of that, okay? So there are 3 phases to Scorpio's energy, right? And I'm just kind of going over this as we're talking about the sun moving through Scorpio so that you can understand the transits a little bit better, right? So there are 3 phases to Scorpio's energy. The first one is the Scorpion, which is what most people know as the sign of Scorpio, right? You see the Scorpion. But the Scorpion is actually the lower vibrations of Scorpio's energy. Think about what the scorpion represents. It represents an animal that moves very low to the ground, very defensive, ready to strike and destroy anything that threatens them. That is like the lower vibrations or the more challenging characteristics of Scorpio's energy. And then the second phase of Scorpio's energy is the eagle. And the eagle is, what has come out of those lower characteristics and is soaring high above the sky, moves with more clarity and insight, the higher vibrations, the better, capitalizing on the better characteristics of Scorpio's energy and using that and turning it into power that is beneficial for thyself, but also beneficial for others as well. It's not just destroy, 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 right? And then the last phase of Scorpio's energy is the Phoenix, where you are fully transcended and transformed. You have literally, just transformed your spirit, your soul, the depth of who you are into something else. And this is a constantly transforming energy. And you have to think about Scorpio rules over the 8th house, right? And the 8th house is the house of transformation, sex, death, rebirth, all of these things that are major, mystery, the occult. So this is really transcending thyself through that phase. So when I say the motto of this Scorpio season is to be the Phoenix, not the Scorpion, that's what I mean in terms of those different phases of Scorpio's energy and moving in those different octaves, okay? So let's go ahead and get into the transits. And so as the sun is going to be moving through the sign of Scorpio, it is going to definitely be making some interesting transits, ones that have been pain points throughout the year. And the first thing that I'm going to say is that the sun is going to be opposite Uranus, okay? And Uranus is in Taurus, okay? And this really highlights an intense urge for freedom and independence. It's highlighting resistance to control, rebellion, and destructive behavior to any opposition or any threat. We talk about the Scorpions, the ability to sting and want to kill and destroy anything that threatens. And so this is definitely a dynamic we're going to be feeling, with this opposition to Uranus. We also have the sun that's going to be squaring Jupiter and Saturn, who are still in the sign of Aquarius, okay? So this brings up tests and challenges, feeling restricted, feeling anger and vindictiveness because you feel those restrictions. So this is something we definitely have to watch and, again, be very, very conscious in moving in our eagle energy, okay? The good thing about this, the one little good thing about it does boost your confidence, but you are walking a fine line because you can very quickly overdo it with this and kind of get into a dangerous zone in terms of how you're projecting yourself. So you got to watch for that. The sun is also going to be sextiling Pluto, which is in Capricorn, and this is going to add intensity, but it's going to add power and influence for helping us tackle our goals, okay? So the thing to keep in mind here is just to not abuse the power. The sun is also going to be trining Neptune in Pisces, so there's going to be, when we talk about that emotional intelligence, an ability to pick up everything beneath the surface and gain deeper understanding. So your intuition is going to be strong, and you're going to have a real increased in sensitivity, and you've probably already started feeling this or starting to feel this come in, okay? So this will also, though, on a great note, it will help you focus and set your own personal goals tied to your dreams. So this is really a good time to really fixate on your goals and getting things done and really moving in that energy. On October 31st, we have Mars moving from Libra and moving into the sign of Scorpio, okay? So Mars is going to be transiting in Scorpio at the same time as the sun, and this energy is very intense because Mars, we talked about Mars being one of the planets that traditionally rules Scorpio's energy, but So it's home here. It's at home here. It feels comfortable here, but it's very intense energy, okay? So some of the themes coming up here is like passion, seduction, control, compulsion, obsession, sex. Like it's going to be very sexual, very just, okay? And it's going to be making a lot of the same, because it's moving through the sign of Scorpio, a lot of the same transits that the sun is making. It's going to be opposite Uranus, which is going to definitely lend itself to angry, explosive outbursts, things that have been suppressed just coming to the surface and kabooming, okay? It wants to be free of restriction. So anything that challenges you and makes you feel limited or restricted is definitely something that can set you off during this time. Mars is also going to be square Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius as well. So this is going to lend to high tension, frustration with restriction, impulsion. You can be more on the side of wanting to do risk taking, but while that can pay off in some ways, I recommend you having a strategy. And also burnout is definitely possible with this placement as well. Sextiling Pluto again, so this is going to be activating our primal instincts of survival, making us super passionate and driven to get our goals pushed forward, and also trining Neptune in Pisces, which is intensifying our sexuality, our sensuality, our magnetism, and it's really a good time for you to get in touch with feeling the subtle energies or attracting things or magnetizing things to you, okay? On November 14th, we have the Scorpio New Moon. And the Scorpio New Moon, again, it's going to be making a lot of those same transits that I've been talking about. But one of the big things coming out of this is it's going to be opposite Uranus, and it's going to be squaring Saturn. And Uranus and Saturn have been showing down pretty much all 2021. So this is definitely an emotional roller coaster that can ignite chaos very, very quickly, and it can set people off. And we'll dive all into that with the Scorpio New Moon video, so I'm not going to tell you too much more about it, okay? So let's move over to, and I'm sorry, I said that was November 14th. It's actually November 4th, not November 14th, so please make that correction. So going over to November 5th, we have Venus moving out of Sagittarius and moving into the sign of Capricorn. And Venus is definitely everything tied to our relationships, our love, our creativity, our money, just a lot of different things, right? So I like to call Venus and Capricorn serious and practical love, right? Because Venus and Capricorn value stability, discipline, commitment. Those are the things that Venus and Capricorn really thrives off of. And while it's here, it's going to be sextiling Scorpio, all the Scorpio transits, like Mars, the sun, everything that's in the sign of Scorpio. So our sensuality, our sexuality, and our magnetism will be high, okay? So listen, sex is in the air during the Scorpio season. Please, if you're not trying to have any children, make sure you are careful during this time, because it is going to be something high, all right? And you're just going to get lost and dive into that passion, okay? So that is something that I wanted to mention. It'll also, while it's in Capricorn, conjunct Pluto, which means it's going to be blending its energy. So Pluto and Venus together is going to add a need for deep and intense connections, okay? But it can also, on the flip side, bring out intense feelings like jealousy and possessiveness. And you can get into those lower qualities real quick, so you got to be careful. Also, Venus will be trining Uranus and Taurus, so very harmonious energy going here, which is bringing longing for new types of encounters, including intense sexual experiences, okay? Venus will also be sextiling Neptune in Pisces, so this is going to be heightening our sensitivity. So, this can also lend itself to feeling very pleasurable or getting lost in pleasurable experiences, or it can flip and be dangerous and kind of fall into those negative aspects of this transit or of Scorpio's energy. So definitely, we want to enjoy and go deep, but we also want to be careful, okay? So on November 6th, we also have Mercury moving into the sign of Scorpio, because Mercury has been in Libra and now it's going into the sign of Scorpio. So we have a lot of movement during that week of November, that first week of November, okay? So when Mercury moves into Scorpio, we are communicating with the depth and passion and of the emotional intelligence that Scorpio brings to the forefront, okay? So this is all about probing, excuse me, and uncovering hidden things. This is activating the natural investigative side of you. You are a natural investigator under this energy, okay? So you're attracted to mystery, death, you're having these like psychic perceptions where you're picking up things that are not said, not, you just know, you're just in tune because this is going beneath the surface, okay? This on the other side, I will say that the darker side of this this transit is that it brings up obsessive thoughts, manipulation, control. So you have to really work on balancing yourself and controlling your thoughts and using and directing it towards kind of uncovering things and in a more productive manner instead of allowing your own thoughts to get obsessive and out of control, okay? Again, some of the other things that are going to be happening transit-wise, just like I said with the Sun and Mars, we have it opposite Uranus, which just means it's going to be scattered and anxious because of unpredictability that Uranus tends to bring into the mix. You also have it square Jupiter and Saturn. This makes you have high hopes, but you are on the other side likely to be expressing yourself in a way that can be negatively perceived. So like jealous, manipulative, condescending. So you have to really watch for how you're projecting yourself. It's also sextiling Pluto, so depth and intensity, strong intuition coming in here, and trining Neptune, which is going to increase our sensitivity and our intuition once again. So this is helping us really dive into those emotional depths, okay? So then on November 10th, we have something interesting happening here, okay? And this is kind of the story that has been playing out through 2021, which is the Saturn and Uranus square, which is gearing up for another round, right? We've had 3 rounds of this spread out through 2021. We've already been to 2 rounds, and we have a 3rd one coming up, approaching the end of this year. So this T-square, there's a T-square happening on November 10th that is like starting to push us to really feel and activate that last showdown, that round 3 between Saturn and Uranus, okay? So what is a T-square? T-square in short is 3 planets that are involved. You have 2 that are in opposition to each other, and then you also have 3 planets that are kind of making a square. So I hope that makes any sense. It's kind of hard to explain without giving you a visual, but it's kind of like if you look at a triangle, that is what is happening there. But it's not equal, it's hard to explain. Take my word for it. Or look up T-square formation on Google and you kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about. But anyway, with a T-square, this can be very tense and challenging energy, okay? It can come in the form of crisis, events, tests, because it's here to help you master certain skills, okay? So what we have here, the planets involved in this T-square, is that Mars and Mercury, which will be exactly conjunct, they're blending their energies, are going to be increasing our aggressiveness and our defensiveness in communication. So our level of argument and fight back is already high. But what's happening when these 2 planets are blending, which are in the sign of Scorpio, they are opposite Uranus and Taurus, okay? And this is creating anxious energy because unpredictability is causing emotionally explosive responses. Now, with that said, that's not the only thing that's going on in this T-square. We have Saturn and the Moon, who are conjunct at this time in Aquarius, okay? Which is highlighting challenging situations. The fight against the old and the new, the lockdown for control, restrictions, limitations, negative emotions, depression and sadness are definitely something that can come up with the Moon and Saturn locked so closely together. So you have these 3 planets kind of facing off, squaring off, and opposing each other. That is creating a real mess of energy, and especially something that we're going to continue to feel as that next showdown between Saturn and Uranus happens at the end of the year, okay? So that is definitely something to watch. And lastly, on November 19th, to wrap up Scorpio season, we have a Taurus full moon. And here we have another T-square action happening because the Taurus full moon is really about stability, comfort, finding pleasure. And there's a lot of change going on. So stability and comfort levels right now are not a thing, right? So there is a lot going on with this Taurus full moon. I want to, do you justice and break it all down properly. So we're going to have a separate video for that, okay? So I am done. I'm done talking, and I want to just thank you for listening to this video. I want to also shout out all my Scorpio babies, everybody who is celebrating a solar return in Scorpio season. Go on ahead and leave your solar return dates down below so that we can shout you out. And I will see you all in the next video. The next one will be the Scorpio New Moon, so stay tuned for that. And I hope you have a great Scorpio season. And remember to be the eagle and not the scorpion. Have a good one, guys. Peace.